ISUPK.
Proverbs chapter 23, verse 17. Let not thine heart envy sinners.
The Lord said, don't let your heart envy sinners. You understand? You're not supposed to look at a sinner, someone that commits robberies and murders. You're not supposed to look. You're not supposed to look at sinners and say, I want to be like him. I want to be like a murderer. I want to grab a gun and go shoot people and have everybody afraid of me, man. You want people afraid of you? Obey the Lord. People will be scared to death of you, man. Don't eat pork. People will look at you like you a super saint, like you got fire glowing around you. Don't celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving. You want to be a real rough man, strong in power and authority? Stop eating pork and crab. Be the brother in the neighborhood that don't smoke weed, that don't smoke cigarettes, you understand? That don't pop Percocets, that won't have sex with another brother's wife, another brother's woman. That's supernatural, man. That's your real power. See, these other nations, they have to go and commit murder and crime because the Lord did not bless them with the ability that you've been blessed with as a black, Hispanic, or Native American man. You are the sons of the Most High Power. And you can tap into the power that the Lord gave you by obeying his laws, statutes, and commandments. But you will never be trained, just like you can't be a Jedi without reporting to learn how to use your power. You can't be a doctor without going to actual doctors to be trained. You can't be a surgeon without studying under a surgeon. You can't learn without an apprenticeship to learn from someone who has the mastery of the skill that you want to possess. And if you want to master how to live life and not die under the slave master's regime, you need to come to the ISUPK to learn under the men of the Lord that God actually set up. Keep reading.
But be thou in the fear of the Lord.
You're supposed to be in the fear of the Most High. You ain't supposed to be wanting to go now and be a criminal. You're supposed to fear the Lord and not be a criminal. You understand? Not be a murderer. Because unlike the Christian preacher where he tell you God love everybody, God hates a sinner. And if you commit murders, the Lord hates a murderer. You understand? If you abort babies, the Lord despises that person. That sister, you killing babies, the Lord is against you. If you selling drugs, you are a witch. The Lord is against you. If you getting high, you are practicing witchcraft. You understand? Smoking your weed, smoking your cigarettes, your crack, your heroin, that is witchcraft. The Lord is against witches. Being a witch and practicing witchcraft is a death penalty offense according to God. That's why our people die, number one, of drug overdoses. That's why when we get high and sell drugs, our cities filled with drug dealers are also filled with murder and violence and everything horrible that you can think of. And just as a sidebar, let me tell you something. If you are selling drugs, understand this. Every child molester needs you to sell them some weed so that they can molest children. You understand? Every abuse victim needs you so that they can get high and make horrible decision after horrible decision that will ruin their life until Whitney Houston is dead at 50 years old. Until Prince is found dead in an elevator from a drug overdose. until Michael Jackson is dead from a horrible drug addiction. You understand? Until Pimp C is dead of a drug overdose. Until all of the brothers and sisters who are our sons and daughters and nieces and nephews die. You understand? Our people end up on drugs from getting molested as a child. You understand? That's why Whitney started. That's why Chris Brown started. That's why Lil Wayne started. That's why Bobby Brown started. That's why Richard Pryor started. This is a huge problem in our community. And instead of our people turning to the Lord to get solutions from the prophets of God in the ISUPK, they go to a witch to get a potion from Satan, which you facilitate for them because your slave master told you to be a drug dealer. You a drug dealer, you get in the ISUPK and change your life so that you can teach brothers and sisters to stop being drug dealers and stop getting high before the judgments of the Lord come against you and you end up dead in these streets somewhere, man. Our people got to learn to change their lives, man. This is a warning from the Lord. The Lord put drug dealers to death, man. The Lord give drug dealers life sentences, man. The Lord put drug users to death. The Lord give life sentences to drug users. Story come out in Virginia. They legalizing marijuana all over the country. But yet, 20-year record high for drug marijuana arrests in the state of Virginia, the highest in 20 years, while the rest of the country legalizing marijuana. Because you done been tied up into this American glamorized gangster get high lifestyle. Our people done swept up to think that America is passing legislation to benefit us, when the only thing that's going to benefit us is turning back to the Lord, man. That's another trap to destroy our people. Keep going.
All day long.
Read that from the top.
Proverbs 23:17. Let not thine heart envy sinners.
Don't envy a sinner. Don't see it, man. Everybody done it. You go through the neighborhood, you see the drug dealer. He got the, if this is how he got it, ain't nothing wrong with having gold teeth, gold chains, gold rings, nice cars. We got all that in the UPK, man. Some brothers do, some brothers don't. It's our flavor to wear gold and be shiny and flashy. But if you selling dope to get your gold teeth and your gold chains, if you selling heroin to get your BMW and your car and your rims, man, don't look at that man like he is a hero. It's almost automatic in the black community. You see the top murderer, the head man, the shooter, everybody pay him respect. And oh man, he the man right there. He the man right there, man. The Lord said, don't desire to be like him. Don't desire to pattern your life like him. Don't join him in his sin and you go and follow him to be a murderer, to be a killer. You understand? So like you're not a killer, because the men of the Lord in the Bible were all killers. You understand? Murder and killing is two different things, man. Don't go out here murdering and taking people's lives, man. Don't kill anybody. Don't murder anybody. Just come to class. You understand? Keep reading.
But be thou in the fear of the Most High.
The fear of the Lord is to keep the commandments, man. Be in fear. You understand? Be in fear of eating pork. In fear of celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving. In fear of being a lesbian or a homosexual man. In fear of celebrating birthdays and 4th of July and Halloween that's coming up. That a ton of brothers and sisters are going to get murdered celebrating Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, man. Fear the Lord enough to obey him so that our people can stop dying. You understand? Keep going.
All the day long.
All the day long, man. Was that the end of 17? Keep reading. Give me
verse 18.
Uh-huh.
For surely there is an end, and thy expectation shall not be cut off.
The Lord said there is an end, you understand? Give me Proverbs chapter 14 and 12. The Lord said there is an end. This is what our people don't realize. There's an end. Because for hundreds of years, our slave master has been able to murder, rob, pillage, and take everything on every continent. From the apartheid in Africa, to Darfur, to Sudan, to enslaving the Chinese, to the opium wars, to oppressing the East Indians, which is why Gandhi is so popular today, to locking up Nelson Mandela for wanting to get the Afrikaners out of South Africa, who were enslaving and exploiting his people, from King Leopold robbing everybody, from Magellan to King Ferdinand of Spain, to Bloody Mary, to the popes, to the conquistadors, to the Queen of England, to the conquistadors of Portugal, of Spain, of Christopher Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, to the Caesars, Alexander the Great, conquering people, enslaving people under Greece, enslaving people under Rome. You understand? Destroying the native Hawaiians. You understand? Destroying all throughout Asia, the Vietnamese, the Koreans, destroying the Middle East, stealing the oil, the gold, the pearls, the diamonds, the resources, the rubber trees, the cocoa plant, the chocolate, destroying the farms, destroying the forests, extincting the buffalo, extincting entire species of animals, wiping out civilizations. That is what our slave master is known for. And we are not to take on the culture and put in our mindset that I can be like him and I'll never have to pay for these murders. I'll never have to pay for being a drug dealer. I never have to pay for these robberies. The Lord is going to make sure, specifically if you are Black, Hispanic, or Native American, that you suffer more than everyone else, because we are his chosen people and we were given commandments and a covenant to obey the Lord all of our lives throughout all our generations. All right?
Proverbs chapter 14 verse 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man.
It just seems natural a lot of times. I'm in the ghetto, I'm poor, you sell drugs, man. That's just a natural thing. And we ain't faulting brothers, man. We done been gamed up. This is the society that's around us, and this is what we've been taught to do. We've been taught to get high. We've been taught to go and run the streets, man. You was taught to have sex with another man's woman. You wasn't taught sex was marriage like the Lord said. You wasn't taught that adultery is a death penalty offense, which is why most of the shootings happen in the ghetto. Some sister done had sex with multiple men and now they killing each other. The Lord make these things happen because our people have not been taught how to properly live our lives. Keep going.
But the end thereof.
But the end of that lifestyle as a gangster, what?
But the end thereof.
The end of that lifestyle as an integration, man. What?
But the end thereof.
The end of joining and marrying ourselves to our slave master's culture. What?
But the end thereof are the ways of death.
That's what's at the end of those Percocets, man. That's what's at the end of that weed, at the end of the Newports, at the end of eating pork, at the end of Christmas and Thanksgiving, and Democrats and Republicans, and going to church, going to the mosque, and being a gangster and a dope dealer and a murderer. The end result of these things equals death to our people. And Christians love to say, well, you know, you got to die some way. You can die in your sleep at 70 years old, or you can die riddled with bullets at 14. There's difference between death. You can die nice and old and gray and watching your kids grow up, or you can die from a stroke after having your third son murdered in the streets of Hampton or Newport News because we did not obey the Lord. There's different ways to die. You understand? The Lord says it's precious to him the death of his saints, man. That's a precious thing to the Lord. It'd be much better to die in your sleep and just go on away and then you wake back up as a baby, as opposed to having to live the last few years of your life with throat or lung or brain cancer because you've smoked your body to death and destroyed it. You understand? Because you've shot up heroin and now your nerves are fried to where you bent over from all the dope that deposited into your spine from years and years of being a horrible drug addict. Come and get counseling in the UPK, man. We love our brothers and sisters, man. We here to fix our people. We here to show our people the correct way to save our lives, man. You don't hear this from anywhere else because you never met a man of God before that's willing to say what is unpopular, what does not make you want to sing and dance, but it will save your life, man. The ISUPK is the emergency surgery that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans need in order to not die. That's what the ISUPK is, man. Keep going. That's it. Give me Amos chapter 3 and 2. This is what the Lord wants our people to realize, man.
Amos chapter 3, verse 2. You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
God said out of all the families of the earth. What is a family of the earth? The Chinese is a family of the earth. The Koreans are a family of the earth. The Japanese are a family of the earth. The so-called Caucasians are a family of the earth. The Portuguese, the white man from Spain, not Hispanics. That's a different race of people. Hispanics were enslaved by the conquistadors from Spain, who are actual slave masters, like Donald Trump. Donald Trump would be a Spaniard, you understand? The conquistadors was Donald Trump, not Jorge and Carlos and Javier and Maria and Jocelyn that you see working at McDonald's serving you coffee or taking out the trash or planting trees in your neighborhood. Them not the conquistadors. Them is regular black people just like you. Them is niggas. That's why they doing nigga work. You understand? That's our people. You understand? Donald Trump is the slave master that came from Spain and enslaved them brothers and sisters to put them in slavery, to force them to speak Spanish, to force them to be Catholics, to force them to take the culture of a people who enslaved them. You understand? They don't tell Hispanics that. Hispanics don't realize you've been in slavery underneath of the culture of a slave master. You understand? That's how you ended up speaking Spanish. That's how you ended up becoming a Catholic, being a Christian. They had to torture millions and millions of our people for hundreds of years to get you to be a Catholic, to get you to be a Christian, to get you to have those rosary beads around your neck and those Virgin Mary prayer candles when the Bible tells you that Jesus Christ was a black man, that Mary was a black woman in the ghetto, a young sister that got pregnant after she had sex with her man Joseph before they had a formal wedding ceremony and got pregnant as a young sister in the ghetto with a baby. You understand? They don't tell you that in church. All right? Keep going.
Therefore, I will punish you.
Punish who?
Punish you.
Black people.
Punish you.
Hispanic people.
Punish you.
Native Americans.
Punish you.
Punish us. Go on.
For all your iniquities.
That's why if you a black man and you commit a murder, you get 160 years for your murder if you in Hampton Roads. You blood in Hampton Roads, you get 160 years for murder. You're getting 4 life sentences for committing murders. You MS-13 in Leesburg, Virginia, you getting 45, 40-something years for a murder. However, if you are the daughter of a slave master, if you're Amber Guyver, you understand, you get 10 years for a murder. Not only do you get 10 years for a murder, after you go into a man's house and kill him and don't call for help and don't give him CPR, and don't apply a medical aid as you were trained to do in law enforcement, because this is a police officer, and get caught on video pacing back and forward, not trying to help this man you just murdered, and allowed in the crime scene while the police are doing an investigation at a murder scene, not being handcuffed or nothing. She didn't get handcuffed. She was wanted for murder. She got $50,000 bond. $50,000 bail. You understand? Black man, you're not getting $50,000 bail for a murder charge. They gonna put you in custody because you a flight risk. You going into custody. The judge not gonna give you a hug after you get convicted of murder. The person that's gonna take you into the custody of the sheriff, when they put them handcuffs on you, they're not gonna stroke your hair like the black woman did for Amber Guyver in the courtroom. They're not gonna stroke your hair. You ain't gonna get no hug from the brother of the whoever you just murdered and put him in the trunk of your car. You ain't gonna get a hug, but your slave master will. That's why the Lord said he would punish us for all our iniquities. There's a time coming when our slave master is going to get punished, and that time is going to come when you stop following the culture of your slave master and turn back to the Lord. That is the only way that time comes, man. All right. Any more on that?
Nah, sir.
Okay. So we're going to go from there. And now let's go to Mark 3 and 27. You understand?
Mark chapter 3, verse 27.
Uh-huh.
No man can...
Just like it. Give me Isaiah 3 and 12 first.
Then
give me Mark 3 and 27. Give me Isaiah 3 and 12.
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
As for my people.
As for my people. My is a possessive pronoun. That's not everybody. This isn't all people. You understand? The Chinese had enough sense to separate from the British who were turning their people into heroin addicts. The East Indians had enough sense to separate their people from the British who were oppressing them and forcing them to buy tea from them when the tea come from India. You understand? The Africans have enough sense to separate from the slave master that instituted the apartheid. They've taken Afrikaners, white Dutch farmers, they taken their land back in South Africa. You understand? They got enough sense to separate. The American colonists had enough sense to separate from the British who was oppressing them. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you do not have enough sense to separate from the white man who is oppressing us. That's why you need the Lord. We don't have enough sense to do that. You aren't made like that. That's why the Lord called us sheep. Sheep will follow whoever has enough grass, whoever got enough grass to put in front of you, the sheep will follow them. That's why you have to be cared for by the men of God, which are only in the ISUPK. Keep going.
Children are their oppressors.
Who are oppressing black people?
Children are their oppressors.
Teenagers, 14 and 15. This is who's running the streets. This is who's shooting up Chicago, shooting up the neighborhood, shooting up the ghetto, stealing the cars. This is who is in your hallway when you come home. This is who is all in the parking lot. This is who is doing all the fights everywhere, World Star, Twitter. This is who's fighting at the football game in Newport News. This is who's fighting at the Hampton football game. This is who's doing the shooting in the apartment complex in Chesapeake, who's doing all the shootings in Newport News. Children. Some 14, 15-year-old that no one can tell them anything. No one can correct them. They're going to be a gangster. They're going to be John Gotti. They're going to be Scarface. They're going to be Al Pacino and Ray Liotta, which is the culture that they were taught because you are a Christian. Because black people are Christians, and the Christian church teaches our people, instead of what the Bible says, it teaches our people that we don't have to obey the Bible. We don't have to obey God. We don't have to obey anything that it says in the Bible. We can live however we want and everything will be okay. And it's an absolute disaster. Children are oppressors. Why are children in charge in the black community? Read on.
And women rule over them.
Single mothers, what?
And women rule over them.
Their mother is in charge, what?
And women rule over them.
A woman ruling over the household is an absolute disaster to the black child. It's an absolute disaster to that sister. It's an absolute disaster to the children. An absolute disaster. This is how your son grows up to be in a gang. This is how you grow up to end up getting a life sentence at 19 and 20 and 14 and 15. Mommy, you are not equipped to discipline children. As much attitude and as much mouth and as much yelling and as much I pay the bills in here, that is nonsense that you've been taught. The only authority in a black house will always be the black man. That's how the Lord set it up. You know the children do not listen to you. You can't control them. When you go to work, they coming back home. They sitting in the house playing video games. Everybody in the neighborhood is eating up all the food out of your refrigerator. They sitting there getting high. They tearing your daughter up left and right. Everybody having sex with her. You don't know what's safety for the children. You taking them to church that's filled with child molesters. You go and pick your own man and the man that you choose is molesting your daughter, and when she tell you, you blame her, and then she go and become a horrible drug addict or a stripper or a prostitute, having sex with multiple men until she end up #1 with AIDS and herpes and gonorrhea like it is in the Hampton Roads area, because you are in charge. And it ain't your fault. Your slave master made it this way. And he used the Christian preachers to teach you, woman, thou art loose. You don't need a man. You can go directly to God. Everything in this Bible is about order. God set up an order. The head is the Most High. Then there's Christ, and Christ reports to the Most High. Then there's the man, and the man reports to Christ. Then there is the woman, and as a woman, you are supposed to report to your man. If you don't, the first man you learn to report to is your father. And the fact that you were raised without your father, in most cases, shows how destroyed our people are as a family. No people is being raised without their father. That's not normal. It's normal in the Black, Hispanic, or Native American community, just like it's normal for your teenagers to shoot and kill each other. Just like it's normal for the young brothers and sisters who should be strong and full of life to be strung out on drugs like weed and pills and syrup and Percocets. It's normal. You understand? Because everything is out of order. That's why it said children are running amok in the community because women rule over them. God never gave you the ability to rule that house. Whether you got the check, you got the car, you got your government clearance, your college degree, your doctorate, your master's, you are not equipped to rule over yourself or the children. You're destroying yourself. You're getting heart attacks younger and younger. You're having strokes at 20 years old. You're scared of the phone call, the garage door. You're scared of knocks on the door. You're scared of bill collectors. You're having panic attacks. Your children, you're raising feminine sons that wear pink and switch and have purses and want to be just like mommy. And in the other extreme, you bringing the child molester into your house that's turning your son into a violent animal that is stabbing and shooting everyone everywhere because you allowed him to be molested by your preacher or your boyfriend. You understand? Or you're turning your daughter into a savage that's having sex with everybody and aborting babies and destroying people's lives and putting men on child support and absolutely destroying herself because women rule over them. You need a righteous man of the Lord to direct your life. And it's not in the Christian church with tambourines and choir robes and Eddie Longs and popes and pastors who would have sex with children. You understand? You need to get in the ISUPK if you love your children. The problem is most people in the Black, Hispanic, or Native American community would much rather have the child molester than a righteous man of the Lord directing their life. They'd much rather have a son doing 160 years or 4 life sentences than to empower the men of the Lord that would teach your son to not be a murderer or a drug dealer and get 4 life sentences. That's the biggest problem amongst our people. At the cost of feeling like we don't have to obey the Lord, we would much rather go to Eddie Long. Because he won't say keep the commandments. He'll say you can eat pork and have Christmas and Thanksgiving and God loves you no matter what, so that he can molest children and you never say anything about it. That is the problem in the black community. The Christian church is at the root of every evil thing that happens to our people. And the Lord is coming to wipe the Christian church out. And you better leave before it happens, because the Lord is going to send more Dylan Roofs and more churches, and your pastors and your ushers are going to let him right in. Just like the church in South Carolina said they would let Dylan Roof back in the church again after he murdered 9 people. They can't protect you. They don't have the Spirit of the Lord, man.
Oh, my people.
They, people. Not everybody. They, my people, keep going.
They, which lead thee.
The Christian preachers that do what?
Lead thee.
Reverend Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, what?
Lead thee.
Woman, thou art loose. T.D. Jakes, what?
Lead thee.
God got a blessing with your name on it. Just get that money, what?
Lead thee.
I can do bad by myself. What?
Lead thee.
The people that are in charge of our people, what do?
Lead thee, cause thee to err.
They cause us to make these mistakes. The only reason that our people have taken the culture and the lifestyle of our slave master is because the Christian preachers told us to do it. Keep going.
And destroy the ways of thy paths.
The ways of our paths are destroyed. You understand? Right now, our people don't even realize that you've not been adequately taught and you don't have a father. Like, our people don't realize how important that a man is until your daughter gets kidnapped. Until your son gets life at 15 years old. You don't realize how important that father's correction is. You understand? Until you go and make some preacher rich and he take the church and move to another city like Jamal Bryant did to black people in Baltimore. Took their money for decades, then took all of the money, left the city and moved to Atlanta and abandoned them. You understand? This is what the church does. This is why black people get rich like Jay-Z and Oprah and move out of the ghetto and just abandon black people and just keep billions of dollars in their bank account and then say, well, it's your fault. It's your fault. Without giving any solutions, you understand, as to how to fix these problems.
Trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, sold packs, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues for this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good wreck. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good ship. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord?